If you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person.
Beware of vision, dream, and passion killers. Family and friends, in most cases, sad to even say this, family and friends in most cases will be the first to try and talk you out of something that you're passionate, excited about, and that you have a vision for.
Who in your life right now comes up with a problem when you try to think through a solution? So when you say, I want to start my own business, I want to do Shopify, I want to do real estate, I want to create an information product, or whatever it is that you want to do, who in your life tells you you're nuts, tells you you're crazy, tells you that you should think through it more to stop being a dreamer, and you're ignoring it?
You're obsessed with what other people think about you. The thing that's going to kill your dream is your addiction to other people's approval.
You don't have to always inform everyone of your next move. You don't have to tell them about your business deals. You don't have to tell them about anything. You should seek assistance in fulfilling your needs by being secretive to a certain extent.
You know, if you don't surround yourself with other dreamers, here's what I know. If 9 of your friends are broke, you're going to be the 10th one. That's it. If 7 of your friends smoke, you're going to be number 8. If you stay with that circle of friends, you've got to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Most of the people that have no dreams will wake up every day trying to talk you out of your dreams. They have no goals. They have nothing that they're ambitious about. So they will talk you out of all the shit that you're excited about. It's really not expected of them to support you and have your back anyway. They life ain't shit. And if you're trying to do something with your life, they're going to try and figure out a way to shut you and your plans down as well.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing I want you to know right now. Most of the time you go, oh, I can handle that negative person, my negative parent or boyfriend or girlfriend or friend or relative. No, you really can't. No, I'm being honest with you, you can't, because I had it my whole life. Even though you fight through it, you know they're wrong. If just 5% of their own insecurities, their lack of confidence to go for what they really want in life, if just 5% of that sticks in your life, it will create you playing small.
Trying to prove people wrong or right about you is a cheap level of motivation, right, and it will wear out. In other words, it's not the lack of it. It's not the best type. It's the symptom of the same disease. Right. So proving your family wrong or right is a symptom of the same disease, which is you are still obsessed with what other people are thinking about you and not doing things that make you happy, that enrich you, that fulfill your soul. And so the irony about spending your life worrying about what everybody else thinks about you, here's the irony, is that those people will never be thought about after they're dead. So they spend their life obsessing with what everyone thinks about them, only to die and have no one ever remember them. Because people that are so obsessed with what other people think about them never really ever fulfill their potential. So once you can drop that addiction, whether it's friends, strangers, or your parents, and you begin to do things that fulfill you, that make you happy, that change other people's lives by your contribution, now you can be remembered. Now your life echoes into eternity, even if it was a quiet life.
Now, Albert Einstein had a quote. He said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. This is important information. Now let me tell you the problem with your imagination. The problem with your imagination is you tell it to the wrong people. Do you know how many times God has showed you something in your imagination that you knew was just for you? You were so excited when it came to you, you went and you shared it with your family and friends. You know what they did? They shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. You know why they couldn't see it? Because God didn't show it to them. He showed it to you. He showed you the evidence of things not seen. So you got to be careful when you share your imagination with small-minded people. Nobody else can see your imagination but you.
If you just make a decision, it can be sometimes the day that starts you on a brand new journey. Maybe a decision you've postponed, and now you understand the penalty of postponing that decision. You've got to do something, and finally you come to the conclusion, today is the day. I now decide. And whether you decide on a new direction, whether you decide to act when before you haven't acted, deciding can be such an incredibly important, very exciting, inspirational day. So that can be an incredible source of inspiration. Now, if you don't follow through, it's not going to last all that long. If you decide and then, postpone and you decide but you still don't get to it for a week or a month or a year, soon all that energy and that source of inspiration is all dissipated. So deciding is inspiring, but not for that long. But once you decide, it can be a very powerful day. But now, of course, you must follow through.
Everything I've ever done started with a fear. But the best way for me to overcome fear is the dream has to be bigger than the fear. That's the only way you turn around and run at it. I just want something so great. I aim for stuff so big that the dream is bigger than the fear.
You cannot believe what can happen to your self-esteem. And many of you have already experienced it. I'm just asking you to begin something new in all the areas of your life. I'm asking you to start taking that stuff now that's in your head, that imagination, which is very powerful, and it's a great source of inspiration in itself. But then I'm asking you then to decide, use that inspiration. Then I'm asking you to make plans, begin to make plans, use that inspiration. And then if you take that first step, it can be the first step of an incredible journey. And beginning can be many things. Beginning a new commitment to learning. You say, I'm going to have a library second to none, and I bought the first book of my new library today. I'm going to be surrounded by information and inspiration. I've gotten started. This is just the first of many, many books. This is the first of a whole flow of information for me. This is the first time. Remember that. Beginning is a fantastic source of inspiration. Planning is an incredible source of inspiration. Deciding is an unbelievable source of inspiration. But now beginning only lasts so long. Progress. One of the greatest sources of inspiration is progress. Once you've gotten started, now you proceed, you progress. Now you go to class the second week, you go to class the third week. But it's not only progressing in terms of time, it's progressing in terms of what you're learning, progressing in terms of getting the information that you hadn't discovered before. Now you're excited about that. When you start jogging around the block, and at first it's a little difficult, and then it's 2 blocks, and then you go around 4 or 5 times. But then you notice you're breathing easier. You notice when you go up a flight of stairs, you're not out of breath. And it suddenly occurs to you, in a fairly short period of time, you're making progress. Then when you start making progress in your business, your ability to make contacts, your ability to talk to people. Being so shy, you decided one day, hey, I've had enough with being too shy. I've made the decision, I'm making some plans, I'm going to begin talking to people. And you start, and at first it's difficult. But then, very quickly, and it doesn't take a year, I'm telling you, it doesn't take a month, it doesn't take a week. I promise you, even though you're a little bit shy, if you'll just start to introduce yourself, if you'll just start to talk to someone you've never talked to before, but also understanding that with this new skill now, with this new ability, and with my progress, no telling what I can accomplish.
Age excusitis is a failure disease of never being the right age to succeed. It comes in two forms: I'm too old or I'm too young. How many times have you heard someone say, I'm too old to start a new career now, or I'm too young for all that responsibility? In fact, how often have you heard yourself say it? This excuse has closed the door of real opportunity to thousands of people. They think their age is somehow wrong, so they don't even bother to try. And, unfortunately, we live in a society that seems all too ready to reinforce those stereotypes. On any night on TV, you can see old people put out to pasture and young people biting off more than they can chew. These statistics we read in the paper continually tell us how hard it is to find a job when you're 60 or when you're 19. But the fact is, for every statistic and every dramatization of these so-called problem ages, you can find real-life exceptions to the rules. Ronald Reagan was elected president just prior to his 70th birthday. Harlan Sanders was collecting Social Security checks when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken. Satchel Paige was playing professional baseball well into his 50s. But he didn't talk about his age. On the other end of the age spectrum, Apple Computer was started by two young men in their 20s, and the founder of Federal Express thought up the idea for his express mail service when he was in college. So age is no barrier. It is just an excuse. If you think you're too old to change or too young to accept the challenge, here's a cure.
Look at your present age positively. Think, I'm still young, instead of I'm too old. Remember, you're capable of handling any responsibility you believe you can handle. Second, keep this computation in mind. Most people can expect about 50 years of productive working life, from about age 20 to about age 70. If you're 30, you've still got 80% of that productive life ahead of you. If you're 40, you've still got a big 60% of your working life to go. If you're 50, you've still got 40%, at least 20 years of productivity, and that's plenty of time to succeed. Finally, invest your future time in doing what you really want to do. It's only too late when you let your mind become negative and tell you it's too late. Stop thinking, I should have started years ago, because that's failure thinking. Instead, think, I'm going to start now. My best years are ahead of me. That's the way successful people think.
I don't know if I can do this job. I mean, this is really out of my league. I'm not a genius, you know.
I think the most insidious of all the excuse diseases is intelligence excusitis. It's the feeling that I'm not quite smart enough, or other people know something I don't. Unlike the other maladies we've discussed, people tend to suffer this one in silence. Nobody wants to talk about how dumb they feel, but they feel it deep down inside, and it blocks their road to success. Most of us, you see, make two basic errors with respect to intelligence. One, we vastly underestimate our own brain power, and two, we vastly overestimate the intelligence of other people. Because of these two mistakes, we sell ourselves short, and we fail to take advantage of many opportunities. Some years ago, Dr. Edward Teller, the famous physicist who's called the father of the atomic bomb, was asked what a young person needed to know to become a successful scientist. Teller said, I quote, "A child does not need a lightning-fast mind to be a scientist, nor does he need a miraculous memory, nor is it necessary that he gets very high grades in school. The only point that counts is that the child have a high degree of interest in science. Interest and enthusiasm are the critical factors, not intelligence." Another way of putting it is simply to say, it's not how much intelligence you have that counts, it's how you use the intelligence you have. Let me give you another example. I was at a college class reunion a while back, and I met a fellow I hadn't seen for about 25 years. His name was Chuck. He was one of the brightest people I've ever met, and he graduated with honors. The last time I talked to him, he had a goal of someday owning his own business. So when I saw him at the reunion, I asked him, "How's your business going?"
Well, David, to tell you the truth, I never really went into business for myself. You know what I did? I used my college education to become an expert in why my business ideas wouldn't work out. Yeah, I learned all the pitfalls of businesses, all the reasons why you might fail. And, you have to be sure you have plenty of capital, the business cycle is right, you have to make sure there's enough demand for your product, the local industry is stabilized. There's 1,001 things to check out. So here I am today. I'm still auditing freight shipments and just plodding along, working for somebody else, and it's not really doing me a lot of good. And I see friends of mine from high school who went out right after high school, and they're doing successful business straight from high school. There's got to be a reason for that.
Do you see Chuck's dilemma? The thinking that guided his intelligence was far more significant than the amount of intelligence he has. If you study the world around you, you'll find a lot of highly successful people with very average IQs. And you'll also find a lot of failures who are brilliant. The difference is one of attitude. What are these people using their brain power for? To defeat themselves or to find ways to succeed? There's one more point I want to make before we summarize the cures for this disease of intelligence excusitis. Another common mistake that people make with regard to intelligence is to equate piles of facts with useful brain power. But it's far more important to use those brain cells for thinking and analyzing than it is for memorizing. Someone once asked Albert Einstein, "How many feet are there in a mile?" Einstein replied, "I don't know. Why should I fill my head with facts that I can find in 2 minutes in any reference book?" Einstein, as usual, was right. You can always find facts. You can't always find good, positive thinking. That you've got to learn for yourself. So here's a cure for intelligence excusitis.
So that brings me to the final step, that it's necessary for us to begin to look at the future and know that it's possible that we can have our dream. Yes, it is. Other people have done it, then we can do it. We fail a lot of times. Well, a lot of other folks fail, and eventually they came back and they succeeded. So it's possible we can have what we want. And we know that we want to get it. It's necessary that we align ourselves with people that think like we do. It's necessary we get negative, do-nothing people out of our lives. It's necessary we never stop learning and growing and developing ourselves. It's necessary that we never give up. We know that it's you, it's me. It's being responsible for our stuff and deciding that we're going to keep on keeping on, that we're going to find a way to win or find a way to make it happen. And we know it's hard. It's not going to be a picnic. Yes, it's hard, and we will do it hard. And once we do it hard and we go through it, we realize it was worth it. And once you discover it was worth it, it is done. It's done. It's done, ladies and gentlemen, before it happens. Well, here's what I'm suggesting to you. That when you're working, you have a wall to break through. Let's say a friend of mine he runs a marathon, and he says, when he's running the 26-mile marathon, he said, let's say that hypothetically, that 18th mile is the wall. He said, Les, when you get there and you're running, he says, everything in you is telling you to stop, to give up. Every muscle is aching, and you're saying to yourself, I can't do it. I can't do it. And you just keep on, and you keep on, and you keep on. It seems like you're moving at slow motion, and then eventually when you break through that 18-mile wall, then you know it's like done, and you're on automatic, and you glide on in, and you know it's there. You know you're going to get to the finish line. And we've all had experiences where we were working on something, and we knew it was possible, and we did those things that were necessary to bring it into reality. We took the responsibility to make it happen. Other people couldn't see it. A lot of people didn't believe it. You were attacked. You were criticized. People were opposing you, but you kept on doing it. It was hard. It was rough. It was difficult. But to you, it was worth it. And eventually you got to a level you know, can nothing stop me now. I'm on the move. I'm on the move.
I recommended the last time I was here the little book, Richest Man in Babylon, and I said I've lectured now to over 3 million people in the last 33 years, and I've recommended this little book to almost all of them, I think. Guess how many have actually gone and got this little book? Answer, very few. My best guess is 10%. Such an easy thing to do. In that last seminar, right, I suggested this little book, number one, is easy to find. Number two, it's easy to buy. The most you can pay for it, $6, $7, $8. You can borrow that from your kids. And number three, it's easy to read. It's in story form. That's why I use it for teenagers, teaching them how to be rich by 40, 35 if you're extra bright, much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. But if it's easy to find and easy to buy, and if it's easy to read, why wouldn't everybody go get it? We don't know. What do you know? You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. Here's how profound it is. Some do and some don't. Now here's the numbers. About 10% do. 90% don't or won't. We don't know the mystery of that. And I'm telling you, 10 years from now, those numbers will still be the same. 10% will, 90% won't. The numbers don't change. Only the faces change. You're looking at one of the faces. I used to belong to the 90% who couldn't be bothered even if it was easy. Guess how many people have a library card? Wisdom of the world available. Transform your life in any value amount you want. By the way, how much is a library card in Texas? Free. Here's what free is. Easy. I mean, it can't be any easier than free. Somebody says, well, would you bring it by? Well, no. At least you got to go get it. No. Wisdom of the world available. Transform your life spiritually, socially, personally, economically, and every other way. Teach you how to be rich and powerful and sophisticated and healthy, influential. How many people have a library card? Answer, 3%. 95, 97% couldn't be bothered. Guy specializes in happy hour, but he doesn't have a card. And now readily and quickly blames the government, and blames his company, and blames policy, and blames the pay scale. When if he only knew, if he joined the 3%. Here's my advice to you today. Walk away from the 97%. Don't talk like they talk. Don't act like they act. Don't go where they go. Don't specialize in what they specialize in. Throw away the blame lists they cling to. Start you a new life. You say, well, is it as simple as getting a library card and join the 3%? And the answer is, of course. Of course. That's how easy this stuff is. This is so easy. It's so simple. It's not complex. You don't need a 2,000-year-old guru. You don't need multi-track affirmations. I'm telling you, don't. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. Don't let somebody sweep you into some contrary way to nature itself says, unless you labor. The miracle of the seed and the soil and the seasons and God and all the other stuff that's available, sunshine and rain, that's not available to you by affirmation. It is only available to you by labor. So labor well. Learn well. Discipline yourself well. And you can have all the treasures you want. This stuff's easy and simple. It's not ocean waves and seagulls. You don't have to move to Sedona where all the force fields come together in Arizona.
Well, when you make the decision to be successful, like I said earlier, and you have to expect there's going to be trouble. Life, okay, how can I say this to you? Listen to me. Life is 10%. Life is 10% what happens to you. It's 90% what you do about it. See, life is going to happen to all of you. I don't care who you are. You're going to lose a loved one. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be told no. You're going to fall. You are going to fail many times to become successful. It is a part of success. It is the process. You have to fail in order to be successful. That's the way it works. There's no other way. Listen to me. For 30 years, I made a lot of money telling jokes. I write jokes. Me, I don't care what you say. When I want to be funny, that is my God-given gift. I can be funny. But listen to this though. I done wrote a lot of jokes that wasn't funny. I have written some stuff that I thought was hysterical in my house. I was writing, I went, boy, when they hear this, they're gonna be screaming, yes! Went out on stage that night, did the joke, nothing. I mean nothing. I have written more jokes that did not work than actually worked. I have failed far more times than I have ever succeeded. Okay, see, let me show you. Okay, check this out. Okay, listen. Michael Jordan, who is like really the greatest basketball player of all time, right? Michael Jordan has taken 985 game-winning shots. That means before the buzzer, Jordan has raised up 985 times to try to win the game. Michael Jordan has only made 145 of them. He has shot the ball 980 some times to try to win the game. Michael Jordan has only made 140 game-winning shots. You don't care nothing about the failure. You don't know nothing about the 800 times he missed. But oh, you cheer and clap for the 145 that went in. You see, that is how it works, man. That is the magic of how it works. They're only going to write about the victories. They only laugh at the jokes I write that's funny. You don't even know the jokes I wrote that didn't work because I stopped telling them. But you laugh at the movies and the YouTube clips, and God has made me famous and I don't even know. I don't even know how. I just dreamed of one day becoming globally. You know what? Let me tell you. I asked God to, about 10 years ago, I told God I wanted him to increase my global brand and persona. I wanted to be more global. I didn't want to just stay in the United States. I wanted to go see the world. I wanted people around the world to know of me. So God began to change me. So he said, you will have to be more than just funny in order for this to happen. So I did not know that my motivational tapes, the stories I've told about my life would go on a platform called YouTube, because 10 years ago, what was YouTube? I didn't know. I just started telling my story, and they started putting it on YouTube and Facebook, and people started finding out more of who I was. So when I was asking God to increase my global brand and persona, I had no idea how he was going to really do it. Until 2015, they hired me to become the host of the Miss Universe pageant. That was God.
And by the way, I'm getting better and better and better at my craft. The larger numbers I run, the more I get more proficient at my message, the more I learn to close better. You with me on that? All right, so let's get to some keys, and then I'll show you some stuff. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I need to convince you. Some of you, Sam said, hey, not everybody there knows you. That's totally cool. This is a new market for me. All the stuff I sell is free. I spent the first 45 years of my life being blessed by great mentors, great guidance, great information. I decided I'm going to spend the last 45 years of my life, the second 45, helping other people build their dream. How many of you have a big dream you want to make come true in your life? Something special you want to do? Okay. Me too, and I got bigger ones. Let me tell you what everybody's dream is. Put in your note. I don't care if you sell pest control, security, solar, insurance. I don't care what it is. Guess what they want? You ready? And guess what you want? You want to be happier. You got to link everything to people's happiness. You think that's ridiculous. So I'm going to kill some termites. They're going to be happier. Yup. They think if you did pest control, at the end of the day, the greatest influencers get that people want to be happier. All of you want to be happier. You think if I become a millionaire, I'll be happier. If I get that baller jet, I'll be happier. If I'm making 100 grand, I'll be happier. If I lose 30 pounds, I'll be happier. If I protect my family with security, my family will be happier. People want to be happier. You think, well, maybe that applies to other businesses, but not mine. Really? You already aren't coaching. Listen to someone who's built some of the largest sales organizations. I built sales organizations, medical, financial. I built them in the retail space. I understand building teams. I understand persuasion. Everything is linked to people's happiness. You know why NBA players are playing basketball? They think if they make more money, take care of the mama, win some NBA championships, everybody will be happier. Every human does something to be happier. There's this dude who sold more hamburgers than anybody in the world. What's his name? Anybody know? Ray Kroc. He's also, his organization, most people don't know this, is the largest holder of acreage real estate on earth. He owns the most real estate in the world selling hamburgers. Guess what? He didn't sell hamburgers. His hamburgers sucked. You know what he sold? Happiness. Happiness. He got creative. What does a hamburger have to do with being happy? Absolutely nothing, except he created an environment where people wanted more hamburgers. People want to get recruited into teams to be happier. They think it's making money, but that's the symptom. The disease is they want to be happier. If you keep selling money all the time to people, just money, you're not going to have a very good team. But if you sell happiness, recognition, travel, success, income, all those things, that's what people want. What people want in every area of life is to be happier. You know what Ray Kroc's mascot is for hamburgers? A clown. A clown. Do you know what his #1 selling meal is called? The what? Happy Meal. Turns out I'm right, huh? Turns out I'm right. This dummy knows a little bit about selling, a little bit about influence. All these dudes you see in here that are hardcore with their hats on, these stud dudes in here, they want to be happier. You know what I know? When I was 21 years old and I started in this business, I wanted to be happier. You know what I want right now? I want to be happier. You know what I want in 20 years? To be happier. You know what I want for my family? Them to be happier. And I will buy products and join organizations that make me think I can be.
Everybody wants life to be greater, but almost all of us get stuck at times where something stops us. Something prevents us from doing something that we really are capable of doing, whether it's turning around our body or shifting a relationship or turning around our finances or maybe just being happy and fulfilled at a different level. We get stuck with a belief of how we're not supposed to be, what we're not supposed to do, what people won't accept, what we're not capable of. Or maybe we get stuck in an emotional pattern, just being pissed off or frustrated or worried or sad or overwhelmed. Sometimes we get stuck, not so much in anything but some habits of doing things a certain way. And what a breakthrough simply is that moment in time where there's an opening, and the opening can come from a conversation, that can come from meeting somebody that inspires you. It can come from insight. It can come from watching a movie and being moved emotionally at just that right moment. It usually comes because something kind of clicked inside of something that snapped us and made us look at life through a different filter in a different way. And it's a real breakthrough because you take that little insight, that little distinction, that little moment, or maybe that little or big emotion inside of you that says no more, I'm gonna change this, and suddenly you do something to make your life better. You break out of the impossibility of life has to be this way, or life is controlling me, and you start to take back control of your life. You start to make this shift that creates the quality of life that you really deserve. Think about it in your own life. How could you have some area of your life where you raise your standard and your life has never been the same? Maybe at one time in your life you smoked cigarettes, or you did something and you did it for years and you kept trying to change it and kept telling yourself I should. And then one day something happened. Something just clicked you over. Something took you over that kind of tipping point, and inside yourself, you said no more. It was a very, very different experience, wasn't it? Something inside of you shifted, and what was a should become a must, and you've never gone back. Is there an area like that in your life? You can think of. Everybody wants to change. Nobody wants to do it. Everybody, I should say, wants progress, but nobody wants to change. Everybody wants your life better, but nobody wants to do the push-ups. The running has an economic or emotional discipline to make it happen. But if you're watching this right now and you're still with me, some part of you wants more, and I'm saying to you, choose it on the way you're gonna choose. It is really simple. If you're in that crisis, what keeps you in the crisis is probably because you're being reinforced. No. There have been areas in your life where some point in time, you just shifted and you raised the standard. Your life changed because whatever people have their identity attached, they live. We live who we believe we are. That's just how it works. Most people overeat, or they smoke, or they drink, or they yell at people. They keep doing it because they're rewarded. Whatever it gets rewarded, gets reinforced. Whatever habit or behavior is reinforced, it comes as a habit. And then pretty soon do it long enough to become a part of your personality. And pretty soon you think it's who you are, and you just keep living that way. I mean, it's easy to see this in other people, right? It's easy to see how messed up they are and how easy they couldn't. They just make some new choices. All you got to just turn on the television, some news programs, entertainment programs, and you'll hear detailed descriptions about some person who is a very powerful celebrity who is doing some stupid things. Why do we see all the stuff on television? Why do we hear about every person you could imagine? From Lindsay Lohan to Britney Spears to all the way back to the old days? It was Elvis or Michael Jackson or whoever it is that's in the news. Today, in this stage of life in your country, you're watching this. It's because we want to see other people who make bad decisions so we can feel better about our own. But the reason those people don't change, Lindsay Lohan, she's got another do why. She's putting herself at risk. She's putting other people, or she could kill someone. She goes to jail, is supposed to be 90 days, but here's the consequence. It goes to 2 weeks on before she even gets out of jail. She makes a deal for an interview and gets paid $1 million. When she gets out for the interview, what do you think? The chances of her changing when her bad behavior gets her $1 million, and I don't know if she even makes that for that much time of acting at this stage. What do you think the chances are when people around her say, it's not your fault? It's not fair. They treat you unfairly as long as we have the decision that we're not responsible, it's not our fault. We can't change anything. We have no power, so don't know about time. You watch this if Lindsay will change, but if she did it because the enabler's era is gone, she's taken responsibility and she's found something. She values more than attention and money for bad behavior. That was easy to look at that with her. But what about you and I? Were you and I addicted to our problems? Were you and I reinforced so many people will have a big problem? Listen, if things were going well, you say it's going so great, your friends go, well, that's great. And after a while, they go, well, easy for you. But if you got a problem, people, hey, I understand and connect with you. Where do we get addicted to our problems? If you want to make a new choice, if you want to make a new decision today, if you want to have a breakthrough in some area of life, you have to give up the story that it's not your fault, and you got to give up the attention and love and the connection and commiserating that comes with it with other human beings. When you start to connect your true nature, suddenly there's energy available for you to set a higher standard for what you want in your life. That's what this is really all about. And when I talk about standards, when I talk about, should versus must, think about your own life. One of the key little subjects we talk about on the weekend is the 7 fundamentals for wealth and happiness. That's one of them. Well, planned economics. It's fundamental if you want to do well, join the top 5%. Anybody in this room can join the top 5%. If you will make a list of the things you want, and on my list of things now I put everything, little things as well as major things. Doesn't matter how small it is. It goes on my list. I used to just put major things, cars, homes. I don't do that anymore. I now load my list with everything. Everything, and the reason is part of the fun of having a list is checking it off. That's it, boy. At the end of the day, if you could go, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. Whatever it is, right, you get into the habit. So load up your list. The things you want. Now, when you check off something major, celebrate. That's an important point to make. Celebrate your achievements. Live it up. Have a party when you reach something you've worked for a while. See, we all grow from 2 experiences. One is called the pain of losing. The other one is called the joy of winning. We need both of them. Amplify him as much as you can, which also means make losing painful. If you set up something, fooled around, didn't get it, put it on yourself on the other side. If you did get it, congratulate yourself. Self-congratulation is a sign of maturity. Seeking congratulations is a sign of immaturity, but hey, winning and losing. See, that's what it's all about. That's the name of the game now. Some people lead such mediocre lives. At the end of the day, they don't know whether they're winning or losing. They got no clue, guy's just going through the day with his fingers crossed. Okay, here's the 3rd category of goals. Personal development. Put those goals together. Personal development goals. That's your goal. To be stronger, more decisive. Be a speaker, be a leader, learn a language, all kinds of skills. The whole weekend seminar was designed to improve all your skills so that you walk away more skillful, and that's what you want. Personal development skills. That's what attracts. That's what brings good things to your life. The person, you become more skillful. Look at these 2 men. Do you know who they are? Most people don't. They're just a couple of ordinary guys. One, they're both gone now. But one was an ordinary beekeeper in Auckland, New Zealand, and the other a Sherpa guide from over around Nepal. Now there's Mount Everest. You know, for thousands of years, people have tried to get to the top of Mount Everest. People died doing it. It was believed it couldn't be done. People tried, but they didn't know how. And so they quit. There's a closer look at the mountain and where they placed their flag. They planted that flag in the mountain. Now, this is the 2 of them after they come down the mountain, and you know something. When they started, they did not know how, they didn't know how to get to the top of the mountain. And that's what stops most people, because they don't know how. As little kids we'd go, "Mommy, Daddy, I want this," and they say, How are you going to do that? It was a little kid. You don't know how to do it. But they did it in 1953 on the 29th of May. They were the first to get to the top of that mountain. They stood right on top of the world. You know, there have been over 1,000 people do it since then. I watched a young woman on Canadian television being interviewed, not very big. She had just come back from going to the top of Mount Everest and the reporter asked her. They said, "How does it feel now that you conquered the mountain?" We didn't conquer the mountain. That mountain can be conquered. We conquered the limitations that are within ourselves. Be prepared, understand. Put yourselves in the shoes of the people or the businesses that you're working with. The message that I just got on Cyberdust is a perfect example. If he would have put himself in my shoes, it would be obvious that Cyberdust is important to me. I'm trying to push everybody to message using it. I've volunteered, and Dave mentioned that hey, I'm gonna be answering questions long after this is over from you people, from everybody sending me messages. So Cyberdust is obviously important to me. And so if you're able to do something that reflects something that's important to me or whoever it is that you're working or trying to get a job where they're trying to get an internship with. We're trying to get an investment from, if you can put yourself in their shoes and put yourself in the context of what's important to them. Your chances of being successful increase 99% of 1,000 feet. Right, and one other point I'll leave with you, right, if you're working for somebody, the best way to be successful is by reducing the stress of those around you. Yeah, it's not about you. It's always about me, but that's a different point. But it's not about you. So what? The people around you. If you're reducing the stress of the people around you, those are the people. Those people start to gravitate towards you. They want to work with you because you make going to work easier, more pleasant. You help them accomplish their goals. You help put them in a position to succeed by reducing their stress. Yeah.